What is going on, world? Wake up with me. It's your man Trayvon Pratt with AIM, always improving the mind. It is a beautiful, blessed morning. It is an awesome day already. You got to start with you and start with that mentality to have an awesome day, right? You create the environment for an awesome day. And it's an awesome one. It's an awesome one. Hold on, gotta put my shine on. Get your shine on. It's self care Saturday. Makes sense that I would say something like that. Self care Saturday. Get my shine on. So everybody that's here, go ahead put in the chat. Like, tell me how you feeling. Or you want to get that shine? You go to shinecareproducts.com, right? Sign up to the email list. Get your self care Saturday self care tips in the email. Shout out to them. So yes, still getting set up here. Put it in the chat. Let me know how y'all doing out there. What's going on? Appreciate y'all for being here. Still getting it together. All right. It seems today all of my technology is actually working with me. And that's what we was talking about yesterday is like you're going to go through some things. It's okay. You're going to go through some stuff. You're going to have some challenges. Uh, some stuff is going to try to hold you back. Things will happen. You will come across outside forces. That does not stop you. You should still be going, right? Now, what I want to talk about today is you always hear the previous generation saying how bad the next generation is going to be, is going to have it, or is currently being, right? Like you always hear the previous generation talking about the next generation in a bad light, you know. And we could have a discussion of, well, who's responsible for this next generation? Who paved the way? Who set this up? Who did this? Who left it? Who led us here? Right? But everybody's got to take accountability for themselves once they're adults. But as I see the children, they just continuously like it's just like a continual decline. Like they're not learning cursive anymore, no penmanship. Some of them don't know how to write, and that's not even a part of literacy anymore because you type everything. You know, still throws me off there when somebody say I'm writing a book. They're on the computer. Like you're not writing a book. Where's your pad? Things of that nature. Uh, but I'm like, man, I think I think there's some core things that will lead. I know that there are some core things that will lead you to success that every successful person has in whatever area. Like this isn't just work related. This isn't just financial success, but it's definitely included. I think, no, I know that there are some things. What are some things that you see that is definitely at the core of success that you would say the next generation is lacking in, is missing, right? And thank you for everybody that's here. If you're interested, you can come join me live. Join me live. Hit the link in the description and join me live. We can talk about this face to face. But let's jump right into it, man. Let's jump right into it. You know what's interesting is I actually got a meeting. When you start doing things consistently, opportunities start to come to you. When you work towards something, it also works towards you. I actually got a meeting after this last, so I got a time frame that I got to cap it off at, so I can make my meeting, which is dope. You know, all around this realm. But getting into it, um, let's see. What is some things you can see all types of stuff? I mean, well, some of the main things is like patience. The next every next generation has less and less patience. That's a core principle to success, uh, major success at that. Communication is definitely a lack of communication. That's all across the board, though. I can't say that's just with the next generation. The next generation, they might get loud, but they say what's on their mind at this point. The previous generations were always quiet. They were always quiet, strong and silent, take it on the chin, keep it in and keep it in the home. And, you know, I think those were more so flaws in communication. But what is what are we talking about here? What is the core to all success, right? What is the core to all success that the next generation is just missing? They missing, man. I believe what they are missing is willingness. Come on. It's willingness. It's the simple willingness to try, willingness to work, willingness to listen, willingness to just try. And it's not just the next generation, it's the current generation, it's the previous generation. I think people all across the board are lacking willingness to be successful at anything. You have to be willing to put forth the effort. You have to be willing to think about it more than what you're already currently like. Instead of thinking about it from a limited standard, no, you have to be willing to think about it and plan something towards it. You have to be willing to take a step towards it, take some action. Are you willing? We talked about changing your perspective on problems to challenges. Are you willing to step up to the challenge? Are you willing to step up to the challenge? Are you willing to learn? Most successful people want to show other people how to become successful, especially how they became successful. But it becomes a waste of time to continuously tell or give the recipe of success to unwilling people. I know this firsthand. Like you could tell this story and they'll get all the motivation, all the energy, they see all the belief while you're talking. But they're not willing to go and do the thing. They're not willing to put in the work. They're not willing to suffer the consequences. They're not willing to go against the grain. They're not willing to stand out. They're not willing to try. They're not willing because if you possibly could fail. They're not willing to develop themselves. They're not willing to change their reality. They're not willing. They're not willing to work. That takes work. Oh, that sounds like a lot of work. I already got a job. Then you want me to work more? They're not willing to work on themselves. You telling me I can't be a millionaire as the person as I am? Well, the person you are you a millionaire? You gotta be willing to develop. You gotta be willing to try new things. People have limited experiences in their lives because they're not willing to try new things. They're not willing to go somewhere, do something differently. You never left your city because you're not willing to travel. You're not willing to get on a plane or, you know, drive across the state line or, be on a bus or even think about a train. You're not willing to get on a boat. And this unwillingness can come from fear-based mentality, thinking about, not willing to do something because of a possible failure. That's a fear-based mentality. You're saying, I'd rather stay the same, which nobody does. I'd rather stay in the same position, which nobody does, because everything is always changing around you. I'd rather stay in the same position knowing, it's uncomfortable. This discomfort is now comforting because at least I know about it. You're in an uncomfortable position. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be looking at the possibility of a better life. You wouldn't be looking at, you know, or even listening to or looking for someone to tell you their success story. You wouldn't even be in that realm of that conversation if you was truly comfortable where you are. But you have a fear that's stopping you from, you know, being willing to do something. To be unwilling usually is from some set of fear or ignorance. You're unwilling to change. You're unwilling to cooperate. You're unwilling to try to communicate better. This just who I am, and this what everybody gets. Well, if everybody is saying that you're wrong, it may be time for you to look at something. And not to say that you're wrong in a total sense, but your communication could be wrong. I know too many managers who I've taught some type of leadership. It's a difference between a manager and a leader. I know too many managers who I've taught leadership, and it's like what you're saying is not wrong. How you're saying it is wrong. Well, that's just how I talk. Understood. That's your accent. That's your accent. That's just how you talk. But how you deliver it, how you approach, how you know what I'm saying? That is wrong. That's your communication. That's where you're lacking at. You're telling me you're not willing to change that? You could change the entire dynamic of the workplace by changing this one thing about yourself. You're not willing to change that to get the result that you actually been like pleading for, working so hard for. You don't understand why nobody wants to listen to you. You don't understand why nobody wants to listen to you. For real. It's because you're not willing to change your communication, which shows that you're not willing to improve yourself. You're not willing to try something different. You're not willing to listen. Why should anyone else be willing to listen to you? Come on, man. If you're not willing to improve yourself, to do better, why should anyone else be willing to do better for you or themselves in your eyes? You ever see somebody tell somebody else what they need to do? The whole time, it's like, reciprocity. I could tell you that too. I could tell you what you need to do better as well. No, I don't need that. Well, your information is now invalid because You could tell me right from wrong and where I need to improve, but you can't accept the same feedback? Oh, you could tell me what I should be willing to do to better myself or better things for you, but you can't accept when I say something about what you should improve on? I accept you for who you are. You should accept me for the same. Like, why are we even having this conversation? That's why so many friends, so many bonds have become great. Is people can hold each other accountable without judgment, right? Not trying to change a person, but if you're continuously getting this type of result, and I see that you could just tweak something to get a different result, the result that you're crying for, that you actually want. And I could tell you that without, retribution, without the negativity, without you arguing and seeing me as the problem. If I could tell you that with love, because that's all communication, how you approach someone. If I could tell you that with love and you can accept that and you're willing to try it out, we just created a everlasting bond. Now I should be open. Hello? I should be open to the to what you may have, any insight that you may have, especially if you got a good result from what I just offered you, from the insight that I just gave you. I'm looking for you to tell me where I can improve. That's a friend. That's a comrade. That's a loved one. That's a soldier in your army. Tell me. Tell me how I could be better. Tell me how I could be better. Put it in the comments. Let me know. I've been working on the technical side. This is the most clear that I've seen these. Like, I don't honestly, I just been trying stuff. I don't know exactly what I did, but this is the most clear. I'm like liquid over here. I'm looking at myself. It's like, yo, that's what I've been working towards behind the scenes. But tell me how I can improve. Do I need to improve my posture? Do I need to be standing up instead of sitting down? Do I need to include more hand movements? Do I need to have better topics? What are some topics that you would like to hear? Do I need to be looking at the camera instead of all photogenic? you know? So tell me how I can improve. I could take it and I appreciate it, right? That's how it should be. But I want somebody to give me feedback because I'm willing to analyze it. I'm willing to put forth effort. I'm willing to listen to it, adhere to it. I'm willing to try it out. I am willing to work. I will always be successful for the simple fact I am willing to put in the work. I will always be successful for the simple fact I am willing to work. My relationship, I've been with my woman half of my life, literally. That's crazy. But that's because both of us are willing to work. Both of us are willing to compromise. Compromise don't have to be so serious. It don't have to be so drastic. You're not like taking a part of you away just for this other person. It ain't got to be like that. That's another discussion. But we are willing to develop and grow together. Neither one of us are stagnant. Neither one of us are just set in our ways and this is what you get and that's it. Both of us are like, give me the feedback. Give me the juice. What you like about me? What's the flaw of mine? What can you tolerate? I can work on that. I could do better in that area. I can try. I'm willing to hear the feedback. I'm willing to listen. Communication. Most mishaps stem from miscommunication. I know this. At some point in a breakup, at some point, somebody's not being heard. And after not being heard goes into actions, that's when it's like, yeah, no, I'm not dealing with this no more. It's somebody, whoever it's affected the most is like, nah. Or if you got a big heart like me, if you see that the other person is affected by your BS, you're like, yo, I can't even do this to you. Walk away. But are you willing to work? Or do you just want to walk away? Because you could improve yourself on this area that this person is telling you instead of hurting that person. You know what I mean? Like it's willingness, man. Longevity in relationships takes willingness. Spiritual connectivity takes willingness, right? Any results, hell, even to get disciplined, to be consistent, you have to be willing to be consistent. You have to be willing to be disciplined to get the result. Like all the other stuff, like this is truly like at the core is the willingness. Like you ask any, well, what are some of the success principles? Patience. You have to be willing to be patient. You know, even if you're an impatient person, you're impatient for a reason. You have to be willing to be patient. Then that reasoning, you'll understand yourself and you can navigate and work around that. You could develop your patience, but you have to be willing to be patient. You have to be willing to put in that work that it takes to develop your patience. You have to be willing to be disciplined. Sounds good to be disciplined. Be disciplined towards the roads of success. You know, look at it in the fitness realm. You got to go to the gym even when you're tired. You're breaking down old muscle for the new muscle to build. Can't eat everything that you want, especially whenever you want, right? Might have to get on a routine that takes discipline. All of this takes discipline, man. But in order to build that discipline, even if you don't have it, in order to build that discipline, you must first what? Be willing to build that discipline. If you're not willing to do, if you're not willing, then you'll never do. And that's where I see the next generation is lacking in is willingness. And not just the next generation, but all people. There's a lack of willingness. People aren't willing anymore. You got the increase of technology in all types of ways, where it's social media, it's gaming, it's man, we got AI that literally thinks for you now. You don't even have to think for yourself. You're like, you know what? I ain't gonna write this paper myself. Hey AI, can you write a X amount of word, a 500 word paper on, such and such. Make sure you include however many paragraphs. That's all the thinking that you do. It does the rest. You ain't proofread nothing, like just submit. It's to the point where you don't have to think for yourself anymore. And that's our greatest superpower as humans is our capability to learn, to think. This right here is what sets us apart from other mammals. This right here has developed and contributed to our evolution. This right here, you all of our senses, all of our hypersenses. And it's to the point now, this is why I say, it affects all people, but really the next generation because they raised with this technology. Is you don't even think for yourself. You don't even know what your own thoughts are. You're just operating on what is shown to be the right thought or the most common thought, excuse me. Because if it was the right thought, then you would be thinking for yourself. Huh? So I get it. There are factors, there are, reasonings why the willingness is limited. Willingness has like shrunk, but you have to be willing. You have to be willing. Anything, to even set a goal, you got to be willing to set the goal. I remember when I first learned about setting goals, and I went to conferences and met millionaires, multimillionaires who all was like, you gotta have some goals. You have to have some goals. I wanted to keep it willy nilly. If I do, if I don't, I'm gonna try anyway. And I was really in that mentality. This is where all of this always improving the mind came from because it was like, you can't leave your success on a whim. That's not how you're going to create your success. I learned about goals and they like enforced it. Every one of them. I would ask them something else and they'll be like, "Well, what your goals are?" And I'm like, "Shit, I don't know, just to learn. I want to, want to look like you. Like what you mean?" Well, first you got to get clear about what your goals are and be definite about them and write them down. We're going to talk about all that good stuff. But I had to be willing to do this. When I learned all of like how they emphasize goals and setting goals and writing them down and looking at them and stuff, I was like, I don't really want to do that. I was intimidated. I was intimidated. I was intimidated to have to look at my goals. I was intimidated to write down and actually see the life I want, who I want to be. Because after you set the goal, now you set the plan. Now it's time for action. And I knew that. So I was intimidated. But I said, you know what? If this truly what I want, I'm going to do it. I was willing. Hello? I was willing just to that hesitation right there, all of it. If you face any hesitation, any doubt, all of it comes from fear based thinking. Let that be known. To sit and ponder on anything, it comes from fear based thinking. And it's not a bad thing. It can be a bad thing if you sit there too long, but it's not a bad thing. It's instinct to have some type of fear. That's a protection thing that your mind does. It's to protect you, right? But I had to be willing to overcome those small fears just to be able to see and set the goal that I actually want. And then I had to be willing to take the next step. Let me write this down. And then I had to be willing to take the next step. What does that look like? What I told y'all, successful people love to show other people how to become successful. I'm in a room full of successful people. And each one of them is telling me something along the line of having goals, setting goals, and they are willing to show others how to be successful, but they're not going to waste too much time because they want to show those who are willing to put in the action to become successful, are willing to listen to what they're saying and apply it and get the result for themselves. I can't keep talking to a wall. I can't keep throwing this out there to nothing. I ain't gonna just keep throwing this net out and not catching any fish. It's not fruitful. I've gotten, like I said, I was in a room full of millionaires. I did pay to be in that room, but the game that they gave me was invaluable. And then a lot of them, like the next step, if you ever been to any of these type of conferences, they got different tiers of and packages that, like you can be a part of. The next step was like $50,000 to be under their tutelage, right? Do you know quite a few of them was like, because you're so willing, because I see your willingness, here's my number. This $50,000 next step I just got for free. Because I'm so willing, because they see my drive, because I'm here to learn, because I want to put in the work, because I keep showing up, because I'm early and leave late, because I'm asking questions and writing down notes, because I saw within them couple of days, I saw where I could improve and change things, and then like took it right back and applied it the same day and got a result. Mm, they was like, "Yeah, I need you. I need to tell you even more stuff." It fuels other people to be able to help somebody who's willing to put in the work. Like, I can't do it for you. I could tell you all day do some push-ups to get a bigger chest. I could tell you all day to drink water and not soda to lose weight. I could tell you all day to go for a walk and it'll tighten up your legs. It'll strengthen up your knees. I could tell you all day, but I can't do it for you. I could tell you all day that to practice better listening and better communication. I could tell you all day that you have to be willing to put in the work. I could tell you all day that the mindset is where you need to improve. Communication is key. I could tell you all day, but you have to be willing to put in the work and get the result for yourself. And after a few conversations, and you still in the same spot, what am I telling you the same thing for? For you to feel good? I don't want you to feel good from my words. I want you to get the result from the actions. Once you know what to do, it's time to do it, right? Man, but I love all of the progression. I'm willing to put in the work. I'm willing to show up again. I need you all to have that willingness. This is what the next generation is missing. This is what most people is missing. They're unwilling. They don't even want to dream anymore because the dreams hurt to see that it is a possibility, but you're not willing to work towards what you just dreamt of, right? They don't even want to recalibrate it. They don't want to remember nothing. They don't want to reminisce. They don't want to plan for the future because it hurts when you're not willing. You become a victim when you're not willing. It's life's fault. Life be life, and that's for everybody. No matter your financial situation, pain is universal, right? I can go on all day, but I do got to make this meeting. It is important to me, and hopefully we'll have a guest on here soon. We'll see. This your man Trayvon Pratt with AIM, always improving the mind. Be willing. Be willing. I'm actually, well, we'll see. I have something for y'all this year, man. Look forward to this year. It's gonna be great. 2024. We all about execution. This execution is the word for this year. Be willing. Okay. Much love.